It's fucking over. Give me a minute. I know people are here, I just have to finish this slice of pizza. Yeah, fucking mess. Hold on. Okay. No, shut up. Don't go into Tarantella. Fuck you. One moment. Calm, zen. I made a mess. It's an absolute mess. I have to dust off my mouse pad. I was feeling pretty lazy. I know that's not the traditional style of Italian pizza. I just got delivery. Oh wait, no. I got DiGiorno. In celebration of Part 6's announcement, which I know doesn't make much sense. I'm doing Part 5 because Part 6 got announced. But I just haven't got around to doing Part 5 yet, so we're gonna work our way up there. And hopefully the goal is to have this part done and be ready to basically go along with the anime for Part 6. I don't know exactly how that's gonna work, but I feel like that could be fun. So, we'll see. I'm gonna put away the webcam. That was just for that stupid fucking pizza bit. And I need to, hold on. I'm gonna like get some pizza out of my teeth. Give me like 2 seconds. Sorry, I don't want to give you guys like fucking ASMR mouth sounds. Okay. Giorno Giovanna, we begin his journey today. We're gonna go through Part 5. To those of you, this has been a long time since I've done the last one of Part 4 for this. This was like 3 or 4 months ago, I think. So yeah, I need to get back into the swing of things. But we're basically just gonna go through the part and talk about things that are interesting and not talk about things that aren't interesting. Actually, no, that's not true because we'll talk about plenty of boring fucking things. There are going to be plenty of things where people are going to be like, shut up and move on to the next ora, please. But here we are. For the record, I love Part 5. This is maybe my favorite part. It's like, it's up there. They're all special in some way. But Part 5, it's probably the goriest part. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of fights. There's a lot of stand battles. It's got some of the coolest stands. It's probably the gayest part. It's the most gay out of all of them. I know that's hard to quantify. Part 7's pretty gay too. It takes place in fucking Italy. So I think when I first heard about like all the different parts of Jojo, I kind of underestimated how different they would be. Like they're, you know, it's about people with stands fighting generally, but it's like it really is like Part 4 is a mystery, like in a small town. It's like a spooky mystery drama. And then Part 5 is like a crime. It's an Italian mafia drama. out of nowhere. And then part 6 takes place in a fucking inside a prison in Florida for half of it. It's like, what? There's no way those things are actually true, but no, they are. It's just they're all wildly different. I get the impression that part 5 may have been inspired by Araki traveling the world. It seems like he really, really, really likes Italy, at least during the time that he was writing this, which incidentally, he has also gone on record saying it was some of the darkest points in his life, which is why there's a bunch of fucked up shit in part 5. But anyway, starting off here, we got a cool cover page. Gold experience is silver. Fucking well done, Araki. You had one goddamn job. But I really like the recolors. It's so strange how Araki manages to take these really, really fucked up color schemes, and even, like, I've noticed the proportions of his characters can be pretty fucked up if you really, like, break it down. Hold on, I need to make chat a little smaller, and it's not that I don't like you guys, it's just that I can't read all of it right now. It's cut off by something. There we go. But he really makes it work here, even though sometimes you can sort of like be like, okay, let's diagram how this works out, and it doesn't make sense. There's a fucking panel in part 8 where somebody has, I think, 8 fingers or something like that on one of their hands. It's pretty good. Penis! The year is 2001. I'm not going to read out the whole thing, by the way. So the beginning, this was something that threw me off. The beginning of part 5 starts off, like most of part 4, told from Koichi's perspective. We get just a tiny bit more Koichi, and I remember when I was first watching, because when part 5 first got animated, I hadn't read it yet, and then halfway through it getting animated, I was like too impatient, so I was like, I'm just gonna read the rest of it. And it was like right around like the Clash and Talking Head fight that I did that. So up until that point, I didn't really know like what was going on. So when I first saw that Koichi was in the beginning of it, I was like, holy fucking shit, Koichi's gonna be a main character of part 5. Not the case. But we still get a nice reprise of his appearance, and we get to sort of see that he's matured. In the sci-fi movie 2001, Space Odyssey. I'm trying to think even how they would, how to like Japanify that. Because in Japan they have like romanification, which is taking Japanese syllables and spelling them out in English. I don't know what the other way around is for that. Humans have already traveled all the way to Jupiter. That's all I saw before I fell asleep. I feel like Araki maybe sees himself in Koichi in a way. Land of ancient history and economic crisis. I don't know much about Italy, but apparently their economy gets fucked a lot. I think when I first saw this, I was like, what the hell? And I like Googled it, and I was like, oh, interesting, and then I forgot. And there's the title drop, Bizarre Mission. Jojo's Bizarre Mission. And here he is, early Giorno Giovanna. Not the only guy in this chapter who looks like he got hit in the head with a fucking shovel. Jesus Christ. He just looks kind of hokey in the beginning here. I feel like the first appearance of like all the characters in this part are just a little strange. But he's... So this is the famous Prince pose, I think. Or is this a... Wait. Is this a Prince pose, or is this a Michael Jackson pose? Fuck. I think this is Prince with the gloves. Or is this just some random fucking model? Actually, I have no idea. I'm talking out my ass. Anyway, his chest thing is so small. His clothing... I don't even know what to call this fucking, like, V-neck. It's like a heart-shaped V-neck that he has. That gets, like, way bigger as the part goes on. And he's blue in the manga, this is the official coloring, but, of course, as we talked about before, Araki doesn't color it himself. There's a separate team. So Araki has said in the past that there are no canonical colors. It's a reference to something. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But in the anime, Giorno is pink. Bright pink, which I thought was an interesting change. And honestly, I'm down with it. I'm fine with pink Giorno. Blue Giorno, also fine. And we got fucking part 5 Jotaro. Basically, every character just got more buttons on their coat. Koichi and Jotaro. But there's just a little tiny bit of Jotaro in this part, along with Koichi. So they're searching for Haruno Shibana, who we later know is Giorno. he started off with black hair, but he just like the Bride of Frankenstein had a life-changing event that changed his hair color. And Jotaro fucking wants like a bit of his hair, or a sample of his skin, I guess. He just wants his, DNA. You could get a sperm sample for all you care about. Oh shit. I forgot about him folding his ear into his head. For I was like, what is that panel? Oh, right. So Jotaro's just like, we should keep an eye on him because he's maybe Dio's son. I don't think he tells Koichi this yet. He kind of looks like you. And oh yeah, Koichi gets an all expenses paid trip, and also Rohan. They explain later that Rohan gave him the ability to speak Italian, which is kind of funny. Rohan is just a god, like seriously. I guess he can only affect like specific people, but like just holy fuck, what an OP ability. But he's like, oh, I'll check out this fucking thing, and then I'm gonna be a tourist for a while. So presumably throughout the rest of part 5, Koichi is just like chilling, like while all this fucked up shit has happened. Like Koichi's just that's a French song. Fuck, he's going around being a tourist. I was just listening to like Italian music, and then I went to the fucking French. So yeah, here's Giorno Giovanna. This is his first panel, I guess. I mean, we've seen the drawings of him on the cover page and in the photograph here as Haruno Shibana, but our first glimpse of him actually is folding his ear into his head, which is one of those things that I really thought that I don't know, I thought it was going to come back in some sort of way. I don't know, it's like, how the fuck is folding your ear into your head gonna come back in any sort of like way, in any sort of like Jojo fight or anything like that? I don't know. Is he gonna like conceal something in his head? It's really strange. It really just feels like during this part, Araki was like, all right, I'm gonna crank up the weirdness to like 10, just like straight away. Also, Tabaco. That's good. Not Marlboro. Tabaco. But yeah, so he can just fold his ear inside his head. He apparently makes money off of this. No, actually, no, he's paying them. Thanks for showing us a good time. Just sounds a whole lot more exciting than stuffing his ear into his head. And also, like, is that a thing? I should Google this. Is that something that a human can do? Ear inside head. Tinnitus? No! Like, that seems physically impossible, is all. There's too many, like, bones around there, Which is fine. People do physically impossible things, like people fucking, like, stretchy punch in part 1. Weird. It's not tobacco, it's tabaco, guys. It's not tobacco. It's tabaco. Anyway, Giorno is going to try to fucking scam Koichi. Koichi is looking at just as much. He looks like a fucking elf on the shelf. He looks like one of those little Christmas dolls. Giorno, I guess, is just trying to, like. I guess this is just his hustle. I don't know. It makes you wonder, is this something that he was just doing for the day, or was this like something Giorno's been doing this shtick for like years? This whole I'll be a taxi cab. Or I'll drive you around if you're a foreigner. So basically, he scams him. They have a nice little chat. We don't need to go through all this. Koichi is smart and skeptical, but he's also still kind of impressionable. And I guess there's a really long line for the actual taxi. Turns out, spoiler alert, Giorno actually made all of those people with gold experience. He can create human beings, did I mention? So, sorry, did the mic... I hope the mic just muted. I can't actually see my audio readout, but I had to clear my throat, and it was a doozy. So, he's not affiliated with the Mafia right now, but I guess at this point he's just had his stand activated for whatever reason. I don't remember exactly, I think it's explained later why his, like, hair changed and he, like, figured out about his stand and all that shit. But he's had his stand his whole life, technically. He's like a born stand user, because, I mean, is it even a spoiler that he's Dio's son? Like, it's established at like the end of this chapter or some shit like that. It's like the one thing people know about Giorno. It's one of those things that kind of sounds like a spoiler when you hear it, and then you watch the part and you're like, oh. Or you read it. Don't look, ignore it. So Giorno's been paying the cops to basically let him just swindle people. Massacre! And then this part, I fucking pogged when I saw this in the anime. Not only do we get to see sort of a cool, like, Dio-esque, like, douchebag moment from Giorno, ciao, we also get to see Koichi being badass for a little bit, even though he still looks like a fucking Christmas doll right now. But this part, and this was really well done in the anime too, they had, like, really cool music when Koichi takes out Echoes and like, gravity slams him down, or slams the car down. Oh my god, this drawing right here. He looks a lot like Josuke, actually. He has like a Josuke vibe here. And this is a cool panel, too. He's posing like crazy here. Don't underestimate me. And I was really hoping that we were just gonna get to like see a sick fucking fight between Koichi and Giorno like straight away. But we don't really. We get it kind of like teased and then they like work together later. You can run if you want. As long as I get my luggage back, I'm fine. Koichi's very kind, too. He's like... That's like one of his big character traits, and I like that he doesn't really come across as a Mary Sue, though, where he's just completely virtuous all the time. Like, he's got... You know, he's got insecurities, and he's kind of shitty about some things, but... Overall, it's like, yeah, hell yeah, Koichi. Even though this guy stole his luggage, he's still like, yeah, whatever, I'm chill. Just give me my luggage back, bro, and I won't murder you with my cool stand. And then we get a lot of Koichi sort of gushing about the Joestar bloodline here. We get it here and then we get it later. There's a really cool panel later where it like shows all the Joestars. All but like Jonathan, I think, actually, weirdly enough. Something like that. He was merely smiling. So he's expecting Giorno to be like, oh my god, oh, he's a fucking like magic dude. But Giorno's like, oh, I see. A shining serenity. And again, it really does look... You superimpose a shovel over that, actually. And I feel like he always has this weird little ponytail thing, too. It's just... Right? I think so. I don't know why it looks weird to me right now. Yeah, I guess it doesn't show George Joestar either. It doesn't show any of the other... It just shows, like, the main JoJos. You know what I mean. And so, apparently he didn't dye it. He used to have black hair, but it suddenly turned blonde recently. He says it's hereditary, but he got it from his father who died in Egypt. And then I guess, is it supposed to be that Giorno, like, renamed himself then? I never really put that together, but he chose the name Giorno Giovanna. Which is kind of neat, because doesn't Giorno mean, like... Giorno means morning, right? Something like that, or like daybreak. It's kind of... He comes across as an artsy fuck. And that's sort of at odds with... Normally with stands, they just kind of have a name. And it's like only very rarely do characters say, yeah, I named it. Just day. Neat. Not daybreak, just day. Day. And here's a part 6 spoiler. No. There's a couple parts in this chapter, actually, or in this beginning part, where characters appear to have 2 heads, and it's like, what? But it's just them looking around like... and here it is, the luggage egg. The lug egg. And I've got a lot to say about this. Actually, just a little bit. It's very strange that it looks like Golden Experience. This always threw me off. Like, it's a little... It's his luggage turning into an egg of a frog. And, like, growing into a frog before his very eyes. But it's also clearly got embellishments that look like Gold Experience on it. That never happens again, I don't think. Whenever Giorno creates something, it just looks like a biological life form. It doesn't have the weird, like, Gold Experience helmet. It's just another classic example of, like, something that was established early and then maybe, like, not continued as it goes on. I believe this is in the anime. I don't know. I think it looks like Gold Experience in the anime. I definitely remember this little creepy thing. They showed it in the teaser for like the first episode. After 2 years, I finally remembered that unwritten rule of fate that stand users attract other stand users. Yeah, Koichi literally like stepped one fucking foot off of the plane and instantly ran into the main Jojo of the part. See, already Giorno's starting to look a little more normal, and he doesn't even look that weird either. It's like it just looks kind of hokey compared to how he looks later on. And then there's a classic case of like, if you see drawings of Giorno that Araki has done in like the past like 10 years or so, or yeah. Oh my god, how time flies. Jojolian's been going on for nearly a decade, by the way. That's true. It's like coming up on that. He looks totally different. So it's just, Araki's style is constantly changing. Alright, now this frog is just a frog. Bell pepper looking ass. It's kind of a hokey looking frog too. I feel like its head is very big and its eyes, maybe that's just how they look. There, it looks more normal. So Koichi's freaking out. Here is, if you didn't believe me before, here is some more definitive proof that Koichi can use Acts 1 and 2 even after getting Act 3. I think this is the last time we ever see Act 1, actually. The frog is just chilling. Damn it, that guy! And so, Koichi, you should just grab that frog. If he knew how the stand worked, he would just grab the frog, but he doesn't really understand. And now we get this weird goon. SPQR. I remember I googled that and it was something about, it's something in Italian. It's some sort of, it's like on a flag or something. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a Latin phrase that like is used for like a specific region of Italy or something like that. Senatus Populusque Romanus. There we go. And this is Leaky Eye Luca, the weirdest fucking guy. The Roman symbol for the old army. I didn't know that. Oh my god, look at his fucking weird face here. Jesus Christ. Giorno bows respectfully, or nods at least. God, they both look kind of crusty. Look at this fucking... Whoa! Whoa! Talking about Prince, he's got the little mustache. He's trying to grow his own... Whatever. So, yeah, Leaky Eye Luca's backstory is he got fucking stabbed in the face. And it, like, fucked up his tear ducts, so he's constantly crying from one eye. And I guess sniffing, too? I guess it's just, like, it fucked up his sinuses in general. Very, like, again, that's one thing that Araki does really well, and I think it almost feels too superficial, where characters, like, every character just has some weird fucking quirk, even beyond their stand. Like, most characters just have something really, really, really strange about them. And even if it doesn't, like, really inform their character that much, honestly. Like, I couldn't tell you much about, like, how Leaky Eye Luca is as a person. He's just kind of a standard goon. But anyway. He's got a shovel. He doesn't have a stand. He literally just has a fucking shovel. Also, this is a part that I feel like probably translated a little poorly. He says, there are 3 don'ts in a good friendship. Don't lie, don't forget to be respectful, and don't bear grudges. I just feel like that would have gone a little more smoothly in Japanese, or when it was in the language it was originally written, it would just flow a little better. Whatever. But yeah, he's interrogating him. He basically just wants money. Like, that's all he really wants. And here's this picture of Dio. This was changed in the anime. Who the fuck knows how Giorno has a picture of Dio? Especially this, like, weird angle, like, baseball card picture of him. But in the anime, it was changed to be the spirit photograph of Dio that Joseph took. I can only assume from his mom, but I don't know. And why does he have it in his wallet? Because it doesn't seem like Giorno actually really gives much of a shit about Dio, It really does just feel like fan service. Because, like, and I know Giorno acts like he's inherited some personality from Dio. He's basically Dio if Dio was good, was like a good, virtuous Joestar, but still like sort of a cunning type. But like beyond the personality thing, the whole Dio factor really doesn't come into it very much beyond just some references here and there, you know? Dio was practicing for modeling and left older pictures around. So yeah. He's like, oh, you paid the security guards, but you didn't pay me. I ain't working with them. He's like a mafia goon. I guess he works under Poco Loco. That's this part 7 guy's name. I'm blanking on the guy's name. The octopus guy. Pesci. That's not his name either. But basically, Giorno's gonna. This is the classic like Josuke fighting the fucking turtle guy. Pulpo. That's his name. The turtle dude. Who he like fucks up. He like punches him in the face with his stand and then like heals it poorly and makes him like ugly. This is a classic first encounter with a Jojo where they kind of like act humble and act like sort of meek and sort of pull a fast one on some dumb fucking goon. But this one he doesn't even really pull a fast one on him here, because how could Giorno have planned this? This frog just showed up just at the right time, and he explains it has a mind of its own. It just happened to return to me. And so here's the infamous part. The frog is crawling up on his body. Leaky Eye Luca is freaking out about this fucking frog. Can frogs do that on pant leg? Can a frog just climb up a human being? I don't know if that's a thing. It might be. But for some reason, Leaky Eye Luca is just freaking out about this frog. He's like, just get that thing off of you while I whoop you with this fucking shovel. And he's like, I'm gonna whoop it then. And he's just like generally pissed because Giorno's being coy with him, I guess. And he squishes the frog, and because of how Giorno's stand works, it also crushes the back of his head. And I do like that the SPQR is there for a reason. It's to sort of make it so you understand perfectly what happened here. It's like there's no way that you could misconstrue this, you know? And then, you know, I guess he also explains it right after, but whatever. And then here he is, Muda Muda, funny. He says, useless, useless. And he doesn't even really say that very much either. Like, he doesn't even say Muda Muda. He does it, you know, a couple other times, notably, but it's just kind of a fun little Easter egg. I think this is some other famous, like, pop musician. This is another classic pose. I think Giorno and Josuke both have a lot of Prince DNA. This is, like, in an era when... I think Araki has said that Prince is one of his favorite artists of all time. Also, Giorno means day or daylight. To say good morning, one says, buongiorno. Cool. But I think later on we actually see a variation of this pose where Gold Experience does this pose and Giorno is behind him, is behind Gold Experience with their arms sort of interlocked. Anyway, even when he's half Japanese himself, he got his... Wait, when he's half Japanese himself, he got his hair color from his dad who died in Egypt. The phrasing of that sentence, when he's half Japanese, weird. Anyway, hey, we got the fucking Dante Beatrice, we got the fucking tomato, fucking old crusty queso, we got the fucking borchese. But basically, Koichi's hunting him down, and just happens to, like, fucking bump into him again. Are these, like, mafia guys? I forgot about this. Those men are so careless, just leaving their bag around like that. And then he says, no idiot would try to steal those men's bags, not around here. Even in Japan, that would get stolen. I guess is Japan seen as like a relatively crime-free or you know, like a very polite country. I don't really know what their reputation is on that. That's generally sort of a stereotype of the East, is being more polite, I guess. But I guess, is that going to come into it, that those guys, like, is that one of the... Weird. Because I don't remember those guys factoring into the plot at all. Weird, those just must be some random mafia dudes. Just to show that they're, like, ubiquitous, I guess. And now, a very similar... They always gotta have a scene where there's a bunch of girls fawning over the main Jojo. And them being like, I'm gay, leave me alone. It's very strange. I think after this part, it kind of stopped. It doesn't happen with Jolene, it doesn't happen with Johnny, it doesn't happen with Josuke. I guess it kind of happens with Josuke, whatever. But yeah, they're just here. They're there for like a second. I guess, actually, no, I think they factor in later in the Black Sabbath plot. They like show up for just a hot second again. This, I feel like I've seen this in profile pictures before. Like, you know? I just feel like I've seen that all over the place. Oh yeah, did you use my money? There's not a lot of it left anymore. I just love that they just, I guess because stand users are drawn to each other, they just fucking like bump into each other over and over again. My heart aches for you, but I don't have it anymore. I sold it. But did he actually? I thought later on it turns out that he kept his wallet and like passport and shit for some reason. Because Koichi gets those things back. Masaka! Heaviness! The same kind of stand? Oh my god, is this part 3 all over again? And this is a pretty goddamn cool panel. I feel like there's always a big, like, glorious reveal. It's like you may see glimpses of the main JoJo's stand before that, but they always have, like, something cool that they do when they first show it, like, for real. And here it is, Gold Experience! And this is, I think in this part they really establish, I guess, no, part 4 they establish that more, that for a lot of stand abilities you need to hit something with your fists to actually make it happen. So Giorno made a fucking, like, look at this, it's in a little bubble here. He made a little plant. I never realized this, but this is like the same kind of bubble that the little frog thing was in. So... what the fuck? I always figured this was like the wet goo. You know, because like frog eggs have a little sac around them of like mucus. You know? But it happens with this weird flower too. But then later on, I'm just gonna say, we see like the entire process of a new life form being created by Gold Experience, and it doesn't have this weird bubble. Stand gel. I never even picked up on that, but that's another thing that I think just goes away over time. All I can say for sure right now is I'm pretty pissed off about this guy taking my luggage. Are you friend or foe real? Acto 3! I don't really get how like Giorno was getting slammed to the ground. Oh, I guess he used the tree growing to lift himself up out of the range of the stand. I get it. And this is I always thought this was a really weird looking tree too. Are there trees that grow like this? This looks like hold on. Have you guys seen... Oh, I'm not gonna be able to find the fucking stupid image. This is gonna be a totally wasted bit. Oh, by the way, while I'm looking around on Google, I just want to address something. I'm probably not gonna be editing all of the podcasts for this. It's probably just gonna stay a VOD thing. I was planning on taking all the streams and editing them together, or, you know, editing out all the ums and ahs, or, you know, as much as you comfortably can. All the bits where I'm just, like, taking a drink of water or whatever, you know? But, it's just too much work. I'm sorry. So I hope people aren't too upset about that. But we will still, of course, be continuing the series on the VOD channel. So it's, like, Dark Souls, like, progression map. Like, that's so stupid. There's like a famous image comparing the progression maps of the first three, or of Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, and I can't even fucking find it, but it looks exactly like this fucking tree. God, I swear I've seen this image like a trillion fucking times on forums and shit, but I can't find it. Okay, wonderful. But it basically looks identical to this tree. It kind of looks like that like USB. There's like the internet or a plugin icon. Weird. Anyway, big tangent for fucking nothing. A tree. How did he manage to climb that tree? And Koichi gets like hit with his own ability here, which I feel like is this something that gets a rule that gets broken later? We'll have to keep an eye out for it. Because I don't remember all the specific instances. I'm not like Hamon Beat going, well, I don't know how you could so miss something so obvious. Don't you have absolutely all the information in Jojo compartmentalized in every part of your brain? But the general rule is supposed to be if Giorno creates life out of something and you attack it, then your attack gets reflected back on you. I think that was one of the things that in the anime it gets broken like once, and that was actually a deviation from the manga. It was like something that didn't happen in the manga. Anyway, we'll see. We'll keep an eye out for it. The same kind of stand. I stole your belongings, yet you didn't attack me with your full power. You're a good person. So Koichi, if he had been attacking with intent to kill, he would have fucking like murdered his own damn self. I always wondered, like, if you're so heavy you're crushing into the concrete like that, you gotta break a few bones. You know? Anyway. Sip! Fucking sip! Oh my god. Anyway. Collect call. Now that's a douche move. They just got the pavement around in Italy is made out of bread and cookie. Cookie! I like how there's like motion lines on Jotaro here, even though, like, did he just spin around in his chair or something? He's sitting down. This is why are there motion lines, whatever. Because of the Italian pronunciation, Haruno Shobana is called Giorno Giovanna here. Shobana is the same as Giovanna. Interesting. There's a name that's spelled like that, like a female name. It's like a, but I think isn't that like an Irish or like a Gaelic name, Siobhan? Because I've heard that name before, and it's basically Shobana without the A at the end. Anyway, even though he's still a student, he acts like a gangster. And I love how it acts like a gangster, as in the gayest fucking dude in the universe. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the actual origin of this picture. This is actually, believe it or not, to anybody who just watched the anime, this is the first time this photograph actually appears in the manga, and then they retroactively added it to part 3 in the anime. So, it's kind of interesting. I never knew that, personally. It's kind of fun to see the Stardust Crusaders drawn in Part 5 style as well. And they kind of, in the anime, you know, they made it so that they looked more Part 3-esque. I think they just used the same exact photo. Which is kind of funny. It's like, not only did Jotaro's clothes change, his art style changed. And I thought that was a really nice addition to Part 3. And, like, at the end of the credits, it shows the photo sort of getting washed over by the sand of the desert. I'm always like, ooh. With the Pat Metheny music playing. Good shit. Yeah, oh man, imagine Slim Polnareff. Imagine Part 5 Polnareff. Wow. If only, right, guys? Just a little note here. I kind of like this paneling. Look at this. There's a line here. It kind of feels like he drew a panel, but then he was like, fuck it. I don't really know how to make this fit and have, like, be able to see Koichi's hair and shit. So he just kind of, like, did away with it and put the lines, like, the expression lines, like, all around. Kind of neat. So this is a little bit of plot. You told me his hair is blonde now. That could be because Giorno's dormant stand ability was only recently awakened. There must have been some sort of trigger. For example, presence of another powerful stand user in the area. I get it. Okay. And then he's like, all right, Koichi, this is a nice little moment where he's like, Koichi, what do you think? What impression did he make on you? Jotaro genuinely trusts Koichi, which is kind of cool because at the beginning of part 4, of course, Jotaro did not give a single fucking shit about Koichi. But now Koichi's sort of like proven himself to him, and now it's like they're just bros now. It's cool to see just a little bit after part 4 some of the characters interacting. It's like, oh, they're so chill now. Yeah, he's reliable. They are saying the word bizarre quite a lot. It's fine. He was a serene kind of person. In the anime, this part 5, I think, before part 5, did they use CGI cars? I don't know if they did. But I remember in part 5, they had CGI vehicles. And for the record, I am personally fine with it. Like, CGI cars and shit, I don't mind it. Maybe I'm just conditioned from watching, like, Futurama, that, like, I don't think it looks bad, or it doesn't, like, take me out of it. But, they did in 3 and 4. Oh, man. Maybe even in part 2. Oh, God. Part 1 is stretching it, though. Don't have a CGI carriage. Personally, like, I remember they use it on this train car. They use it on the fucking soccer ball later on like, the beach, that one scene. The soccer ball is CGI. Shit like that. But I don't mind it, personally. It is incredible how much Araki dedicates to drawing vehicles like this. I feel like that's an underappreciated thing. Because they're so detailed, and they're so, like, you have to be so precise drawing them. Like, the characters, you can just sort of, you know, you can have hokey proportions here and there. But on a vehicle, it's like, you gotta be really precise, and, like, buildings and shit. And Araki just draws that shit, man. Where he could just have a plain background, you know? Yeah, drawing cars is hard. Exactly. Anyway. Time for Bruno. He drops I don't even know, is that a Lyra or whatever? I don't even fucking know what that's called. Is it a Euro? I've been to fucking... I've been all over Europe. I should know this. I've never been to Italy, though. So, introduction of Bruno. I'm gonna say it. He looks really Asian here. Did anybody else think there's just something a little off about Bruno? Like, I know he's playing coy here because he's sort of undercover. But even after this, hold on, let's go forward a little bit. Yeah, Taste of a Liar. Oh god, Jonah's backstory. But, like, even here, he just kind of, like, he's just got a slightly different design, I feel like. It might just be the art style changing as well, but it's the bangs. Is it the bangs? Hold on. Bruno Bucciarati. His bangs are more, like, solid later on. And here they're kind of, like, wispy. And, like, flopping around. He's kind of, like, got Joshu. I don't even know. Whatever. Anyway, let's go back. Sorry, that was a weird tangent. He looks kind of off. And, like, this whole scene at the beginning, he's very playful, and more playful and sort of, like, messing around and goofy than I think he is for basically the entire rest of the part. The rest of the part, he's, like, very, people say he's, like, the mom of the group because he, like, keeps everyone else in line and is very sort of studious and very professional. But here he's messing around. He's licking things. He's laughing around. He's kecking it up. And this is a nice, like, introduction moment. Beyond all that, like, it just confuses the matter that Bruno is, like, acting here, because this is not actually how he acts, you know? I guess that's all I'm trying to say. But he's like, oh, if you discovered a big bag of money here, would you take it? And Jonah's like, hell yeah, I'd take it. And then he's like, well, what if I was an undercover cop? And he's like, well, I'd give half of it to you then. Which is a pretty good moment. They're both pretty dastardly in a way. But then he reveals, he's like, nope, I'm a mafioso. This is an awesome fucking, like, glory shot, too. Bruno's outfit is so ridiculous. I always thought these things looked like strawberry seeds. Except, of course, his outfit is white. And so he switches into intimidation mode. he's we see later that he got sent by Pulpo, and that I think someone else was gonna do this, but then Bruno decided like, no, I'll do it for whatever fucking reason. Imagine putting that on someone's head. Whatever. Listen, this guy's entire fucking thing is zippers. Like, his soul creature creates zippers, and that's why his body is covered head to toe in zippers. And Kingdom Hearts characters have more zippers on their outfit than this. Just gonna say that. That's like his defining aspect, and he still has less than the standard Kingdom Hearts outfit. They're mostly cosmetic, too. Anyway, he's also got the little heart thing, except his is closed at the top, to show that he's more reserved. He's a tsundere. No. Since they targeted one of his own, the boss thinks that whoever it is wanted to smear shit on his face. Whoa. Well, you gonna do that? Shit and piss? There's not a lot of shit and piss in this part, but there is. It's not nearly as much as part 3, though. I've never even heard of someone called Leaky Eye Luca. And this is to sort of show that both of them, neither of them are scrubs like Koichi. They're both hard asses. This is pretty cool, too. It's like their faces together are sort of forming one face. It also kind of looks like they're about to make out. You're not sweating. Okay, and this is an important thing to mention. I don't really know what Bruno's stand is doing here. Right? Like, how is he doing this? He grabs Giorno's wrist with his actual hand. Alright? Later on, it's established that I think Bruno needs to hit something with his stand's fists to put a zipper on it. So it's like, really, Bruno would need to hit Giorno's palm with his stand fist. Maybe he can just gently tap it, I don't know. But he grabbed his wrist with his real hand, and then we don't even see a zipper on Giorno's hand, we just see the eyeball in there. I don't know exactly what's going on there, and there's more shit later that's like, what's going on? You can have your stand inside you, but here's the thing. Only if your name is Jotaro Kujo, and only if it's the end of part 3. Like, that only happens once. It could be used so many other times. You know? And it just never happens any other time except for that one moment. So I really think that's like shrinking the stands, you know? Where they do it like once. And it's not really like a thing that you can generally do. But yeah, it's fine. It's got like a magic trick vibe to it, where he's kind of like misdirecting him. And then he puts the fucking eyeball in his hand. He's like, how'd you do that? I had my hand in a fist the whole time. Anyway. So he's unconscious anyway, so I brought it here. I think Leaky Eye Luca is just fucking dead. Also, that is a clean eyeball. When you pull somebody's eyeball out, it doesn't look like a sphere. And I'm not saying this because I have experience, by the way. And here's the famous panel. This is the taste of a liar. This is just like another wacky fucking moment. And also very, very gay. Incredibly gay. He sucked on the eyeball to get the goo off of it. This is terrible. It's very dark, though. I would not want to hold somebody's eyeball. It looks like he's like trying to waterbend here. You know? And Gold Experience is just launching into the most vicious crump of a lifetime. By the way, I'm going to start doing the Jojo podcast more, but these episodes are probably only going to be about an hour and a half long each. Just any stream where I'm just sitting here talking is just sort of drains me. And also after this is not pertinent to VOD viewers, but I think after this I'm going to do a bit of Celeste too. So we're probably going to do this for about an hour and a half. We're at 50 minutes right now. Take a little break, do a little bit of Celeste, and then I will be gone. Thought. Anyway, Giorno backstory. To Dio Brando, women were mere tools or food. So how the fuck did Giorno's mom survive? Nobody knows what happened. And that's a nice way of saying, I don't have to explain what happened. I, Hirohiko Araki, don't have to explain whatever. So Giorno's mom, worst mom, 0 out of 10. I'm not going to sacrifice my freedom just because I have a kid now. So she basically just left her kid at home all the time. And I guess he, like, this part I was always like, okay, whatever, Araki. Since it was useless to cry, alone in the dark, Giorno could only tremble. It's like, okay, a baby's still gonna cry. Babies don't consciously cry because they want things. Babies just cry, like, if you just left a baby at home like that, it would just cry until it, like, fell asleep. Whatever. It's fine. He's a very troubled child, and his stepfather was very, very abusive. And that's what sort of made, that kind of fucked up Giorno. Oh god. That kind of fucked up Giorno emotionally, but he still got that Joestar blood. He still turned out good somehow. A chance incident saved Giorno from this fate. He said he was gonna be a shithead like his stepdad. Giorno is too cool to cry. But I really, really like this moment. This is a really cool origin story. Like, all this other shit is like, yeah, whatever. I really like this bit with the mafia guy. He sees this dude who's been shot, and he's in this little patch of grass behind a wall. These mafia dudes are looking for him, and Giorno lied. This is a meme for some reason. People will put, like, I don't know, it's like part 6 is good or whatever. Giorno lied. I'm not saying part 6 is bad, by the way. I'm looking hella forward to that. But he just empathized with the guy. He's like, I don't care what kind of, like, fucked up shit this guy has done. He doesn't care that he's a mafioso. He's a kid. He doesn't even really understand. He's just like, he's like me. He's in a dire situation. I'm gonna help him. And my favorite part is that the grass grew to protect him. Even though Giorno had no idea he had a stand, his powers were activating unconsciously. Which is, I really like that trope. I think that happened with Hamon in, or did that happen in part 2 with Hamon? I think we talked about this, and I think we established that it didn't, or something like that. But, I like when characters have, like, some sort of special ability, and it's like, as a kid, they don't even know it yet, but it's already helping them, you know? Anyway. And he goes, I'll never forget what you did for me. He never explained why he was shot. And then the mafia guy basically pulls some strings and makes everybody respect Giorno. And then that makes Giorno blossom into this weird mafia guy becomes a better father than his own his real dad or his stepdad. Oh, right, the plane jackers. Right, I was thinking about the part at the beginning where he shoots the coke at the cop. Because then I was like, I think he, like, says Hormone Blast or some shit like that at that point. But, yeah, he uses it on the plane jackers. Anyway. This is really cool. It's a neat arc, and it's sort of unique. I can't think of many other instances. I'm sure there are some, but, where it's like he learned a beautiful life lesson from, like, a guy who's probably a horrible murderer. Who specialized in lawlessness and crime. Within his heart, a calm breeze blew. Lots of very flowery dialogue here. That's shit that translates just fine. But basically, Giorno is dissatisfied with the way the world is, and he wants to be a gang star. Which is, of course, iconic. This pose is iconic. The phrase gang star is hilarious. I don't know how that worked in Japanese either, but I think it works pretty well. I think it's great. He wants to change the world by rising in the ranks of a horrible organization. I almost said, like, industry, but I don't really. Is that what is the mafia considered an industry? Anyway. Oh, right. I guess he literally just says Gangsta. Right. It's like an English pun. Right. I forgot Araki does that. Okay, never mind. Anyway, the murder industry. We're back to this. What the fuck did this guy just do? That is just a perfectly fucking spherical eyeball. I'm in quite a bind. Yeah, and Giorno is doing this even though he's basically innocent. Like, he didn't even kill Leaky Eye Luca. Leaky Eye Luca just shoveled his own goddamn head, which, by the way, can we just start dipping into the memes for Part 5? Because Part 5 has some juicy memes. Because, like, the anime came out, and it was very, very, very popular in the West, and people just got to fucking work on those memes. That's one of my favorites. Just makes me giggle. Anyway. We got Bruno just whooping the shit out of him. I like this line. What are you looking at? Do you want to hit him too? It's more of Bruno being kind of, like, more sassy than he ever is later on. Man, I should talk about the PS2 game at some point. I should play the PS2 game at some point, even though I think there's not an official translation for it. Unfortunately. I don't even know if there's an unofficial one. This is some gross fucking shit. I would never want to have severed fingers in my mouth. And again, I don't really understand how this works with Bruno's stand, but it's worth noting that he did get hit in the mouth with Bruno's real fist. It's just that's so close to how it works. It's region locked too. That sucks. I never looked at the Part 5 scans. Is this Duwang level of English? No, but there is an equally... there are some infamously bad scans of Part 5 that were the only scans available in the West for a really, really long time. So, yeah. It's not quite as infamous as Duwang, or Duwang or whatever, but Part 5 was for a really long time, I think, actually hated in America because there were such poor translations and scans that they just thought it was awful. I think there are some... I think there's one reference to it in this. Maybe I'm thinking about Get a Feeling So Complicated from Part 4, whatever. Besides my ability to tell when someone's lying, I can do things like that. Whatever the object, I can put it in your mouth. And so, like... what the fuck? And it's okay, but now he does have a zipper, but it's on the side of his face. So, but let's go back a panel. It definitely isn't here. Here, is it supposed to be that, like, Giorno is becoming cognizant of, like, what the ability is, and that's just starting to, like, show the actual zippers? Like, he just couldn't see them before because he didn't understand what was going on. I don't know. This is a really weird hit. This is like an upward strike with the back of the hand. Just imagine trying to... I'm just like trying to pantomime that in real life. Weird. You can pretty clearly see that side of his face, though, and that it doesn't have the zipper underneath his eye like that. Right? Like, it would be right there. Just saying. This game sucks. Araki sucks. No. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't quite make sense to me. More Part 6. This is just a torture session happening on a fucking bus. And Giorno, I guess, has never used gold experience against humans before, which is hilarious. That's just one of those things where he's like, oh, by the way, I've never done this before, so time to figure it out. Whatever. We get to see this awesome emblem, which this was used in Fighting Gold, which I may as well talk about. Cool intro. It's a banger of a song. Fighting Gold. Da 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 da. I don't know any of the Japanese lyrics, but it's it gets you pumped. It's got like a James Bond-esque feel to it. It's really, really good shit. And just like all the other JoJo intros, it's got that nice quality of, like, I actually want to watch it every time I watch a new episode, because, especially when watching through it for the first time, you see that intro for the first time and you're like, oh god, I don't know any of these characters. What the fuck was happening in that? And then as you see more and more of it, you're like, okay, I understand. This was that character. That was this happening. This is a reference to that, you know. And at the end of it, it shows this cool little emblem, which is just really awesome. It's just sort of incorporating. I feel like this is the sort of thing, minus the Jojo, that you would see on like a fountain in Italy, you know. And this is just an amazing fucking, like, these title pages or these chapter pages are fucking incredible. Really sinister looking Bruno face. And this is more like Araki likes to do body horror, but like in unconventional ways. So here it's like his body is like falling apart because of the zippers. It's kind of a neat way of doing like really fucked up shit without actually having it being gory, even though we get to see crazy gory shit later on anyway. Feels like it's gonna come off, I can kick your head around like a soccer ball. Oh shit. They do take someone's head off later, and the guy is still alive. I can't take any more hit-is of him. Bad apostrophe. I've never once in my life used gold experience to attack another human being. It's like, damn, just up until this point, he's just been completely docile. I only just discovered my ability a few months ago. I know that gold experience's ability can give life to things that give life to things like bags or bricks. Hit apostrophe S again. So this scene, I also, like, so many things in JoJo. I think a lot of, you could just call this whole series overanalyzing JoJo. Because I'm going to go through this scene and be like, these characters are fucking psychic. Because the information that goes down in this next scene, like, neither character should know what the other is thinking, but they do. They just simply do. So he hits him in the arm with his stand. Bruno isn't even expecting him to have a stand. So he's completely fucking shook. Disgracito. Oh, what? Disgraciato. I forgot he says that. That's amazing. I'm assuming that is some sort of insult or you disgrace or something like that. So you're the one who did Luca in. Not really. Luca kind of killed himself, in a way. Are there people just sitting in the car? Wow, there's a dude just chilling, reading a paper while this is happening. Didn't even notice. And he punches him with the fucking zappy punch. And this is the part where we have yet another thing that sort of gets dropped over the course of the part. Your mind will go berserk part. So Bruno, his like spirit got knocked out of his body, and he thinks he's like a superhuman, but he's not actually. He tries to like grab this handrail and it bends, but I guess like it wasn't really bending in the real world because this is just his like spirit ghost thing. And he's like, I'm the fucking like fastest, bestest guy ever. But he can't do anything about it, and then his real body is here. It just basically makes you trip balls. It like someone said brain overcharge. And it's like, okay, fine. I'm fine with this ability. It's weird, but I'm fine with it. Bruno figures it out pretty fucking fast. I feel like, you know, that is fine. Find? Whoa. It's like, whatever. Okay, he understands what the, yeah, guys, we'll talk about this ability later on. I'm well aware. I should have fucking said something because I should have known people were gonna be spoiler. Please, can I spoil it, please? I know what happens. But don't worry about it. We will talk about it later on. It doesn't happen for fucking 90% of the fucking part. Anyway, Bruno is like stuck here. And he like has to watch his normal form get like punched super, super slowly, and he can feel the sharp pain like over the course of like a really long time. And then this is the part that throws me off though, is Giorno just understands this. He just goes, it looks as if gold experience gives more life to a living human being. They become out of control. Only their consciousness. It's like Bruno has been sort of monologuing here, but presumably this is just in his own head, right? He's not actually saying this out loud. Giorno can't hear this. So what the fuck? Like, I don't understand how Giorno just instantly picked up on that. He was just like, oh, well, clearly this is what's happening. From Giorno's perspective, he just punched Bruno, and Bruno stumbled and then got up. And then he punched him again, and Giorno just understands this. He's like, excuse the hell out of me? Oh, and that's it. That part really throws me off. What else would it have been? Anything. I don't know. Maybe he just punched him. It could have just been that he punched him. Whatever. His brain became so big, he's emitting his thoughts to Giorno. No, I should mention, yes, we're doing this sort of, when I go through these, we're doing them sort of chapter by chapter. And we can make reference to things that happen later, but we're not going to try to get into like spoiler territory until we actually get there. And then when we get there, we'll talk about it. So I think just one more chapter for today. The beginning is always a little slow. Also, that or another what do you call it? Volume, not chapter. We did a few chapters. We're going to do another volume. That first one is called Goodbye, Morio, Golden Heart. A little reference to part 4 there. And then this one's called His Dream is to be a Gang Star. And, is this a more modern drawing? Because this looks like some, like, part 7 and 8 era Araki shit. Weird. I couldn't tell you for sure, but I would say this is probably a drawing that happened after the fact. Whatever. Maybe not. Anyway, yes, I haven't talked about it, but someone said Jojo, lol. Yeah, Jojo. I think that's pretty clever. It's Italian, so it's Gio instead of Joe. It's good to like set Giorno apart from all the other Joe stars. He kind of has his own vibe. Hold on. Where's the good picture? Hold the phone. Hold the phone, I have a meme for this. There should be a certain point where I just go through and just show a bunch of fucking stupid memes. Here we go. This is how it feels, you know? I vibe with this image. Anyway. We got Bruno pogging. He's not really pogging. This is a really goofy face, though. This is, like, fucked up, too. He has to, like, experience slow teeth-breaking pain. Like, holy shit. That sucks. Oh, and look at, here's this. I don't know if it's the exact same pose, but Gold Experience is kind of doing a similar thing, and then Giorno's just, like, straddling it behind it. Okay, let's look at this. Might as well take a look at the stats. Okay. Destructive Force, C, so it's not actually very strong. Permanence, D, that's like defense, basically. Speed, A, Precision, C. Range, E, Growth, A. Yeah, Giorno's fucking 15, by the way. Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But whatever. Has the power to endow objects with life. Can turn the object into a plant or an animal. Also, any attack towards the transformed object will be reflected back towards the aggressor. If it hits a human, that individual's senses will go out of control and everything will seem like it's moving slowly. Even the pain will feel slow. Alright, nothing we didn't know there, I guess. Cool panels. I like that these people are just now taking notice and being like, oh, maybe they've always been sitting there, pogging. I can't. Let me move the page. There we go. I apologize for the disturbance. I'm gonna call the police. They're ghost punching each other. Alright, so he's recapping. It's so weird. Like, that little leap where Giorno, it's just like Giorno understands what's going on. Understands? Weird. Anyway. I'm just reading through here. This is something that would get cut out if I was editing this, but no. One of the things about editing it is the first 3 parts didn't take very long for me to go through because they're a lot shorter. But then parts 4 and 5 and 6 are all quite long, and then 7 and 8 are even longer. You're a person who's prepared himself for conflict. If you're ready to kill me, you better be ready to get killed. That's a pretty brutal line. This his skin and his sweat says that he's not lying. So that's a genuine ability that Bruno has, by the way. He wasn't just bluffing there. That is like a real thing. Oh, and here's Sticky Fingers, which has less zippers than actual Bruno, weirdly enough. But yeah, oh, by the way, they call him Bucciolati in this. I'm probably just gonna call him Bruno, but I know him as Bucciolati. I don't know what the official name is. I've seen it both ways, Bucciolati and Bucciolati. So I'm gonna go with the one that I'm familiar with. But there's like a discrepancy there. Anyway. Bruno's like, I'm gonna run the fuck away. And here's the iconic Bruno going into his zipper hole pose. I feel like he does that a few other times, but this is the one that's commonly referenced, like specific pose with his hand out on the wall like that. I feel like I've seen like a Redbubble sticker that had that, you know, one of those like vinyl stickers that you can just place on anything. Anyway, he can basically just he's sort of got a variation of like portals, like a portal gun. You can just make holes in things and go right through them. And then this is a really weird scene. Giorno's like, okay, Bucciolati he can't get away or else he'll tell the mafia about me, basically, and then I'll get absolutely fucked by like 10 mafia guys. Presumably the Pulpo gang would go whoop his ass. Mista would just come and shoot him. And so Bruno goes into a human being, and small spoiler, I guess, it's this guy. But like, he can just fit inside an entire fucking like person, and this is also something that is never done again. And it's like a guy that's shorter than him too. It's like he wouldn't even physically fit in there. So is he creating, like, somebody said he created a pocket dimension. I kind of feel like, yeah, he does create a pocket dimension. Shit's weird, man. It's a very, very strange application of his ability. But I really like this application of Giorno's ability, which is that he turned the tooth that Bruno lost into a little fly, and the fly is attracted to the guy that has Bruno inside of him. And then when he swats the fly, he also gets fucked up. This is pretty clever. Pretty fucking... That's like a classic Jojo, like, sort of twist. This is good shit. And I love these little transitionary drawings we get of, like, inanimate objects becoming living creatures or living creatures becoming inanimate objects. We don't get to see that too much. There's one part where he makes a flying fish. That's one of my favorite parts. That's like, when I think of Giorno's ability, I think of him throwing the little, like, computer thing and it turning into a flying fish in midair. That shit's really cool. Anyway. Yeah, he also digs through solid earth with it. That's true. Yeah, Bruno's zippers can do all sorts of wacky shit. This is unfortunate. I had just announced that I wouldn't allow civilians to get involved. I remember when I was not reading this, watching this for the first time, I said, like, oh man, he said he wasn't going to hurt citizens, but then he just straight away whooped a citizen. One could say that you were hit by that blow that you dealt yourself, so please try to bear it. He's still being kind to this random fuckface. And this guy's a drug addict, too. This is where, like, drugs are going to start coming into this. Fucking Giorno will allow all sorts of crazy shit, but drugs, no thanks. Literal murder, that's fine. Drugs, no. I just opened a tab. I've still got a Google Images Bruno Bucciolati search. And it's just a bunch of, like, art of Bruno. Oh, whatever. I'm so sad that I couldn't find that Dark Souls progression map. I'm sure you could probably find it somewhere. Whatever. Anyway. Giorno's the CEO of Dare. look at this fucking like text bubble. He really had to chop up the word desperate. Desperate. All right, and they have a little close encounter here. Giorno wins, but he takes mercy on Bruno. Basically, he makes his body go berserk. Right, Bruno tricks him here because Bruno attacks him with an arm. Because Giorno punched him in the arm before to do the thing. So Bruno attacks him with this arm that he stole from the other guy, so that he doesn't actually get affected by the thing. Which I guess that's how that works. And then he cuts him up with the zippers. And I think Giorno tears off his own arm with the zipper on it in order to do like a zoom punch, basically. And hit him with the zappy ability, which is pretty fucking awesome. And then Bruno's like, oh shit, he's gonna punch me a fuck ton of times, and it is going to kill me. Like I can't handle that kind of pain. But then Giorno just walks right past him and puts the arm back on the other guy. Wait, that's Bruno's arm? That's Bruno's arm. Okay. Anyway, no. Bruno's arm is on that guy, and this is that guy's arm, I think. Anyway, he was shocked by how the arm had some signs of drug infection. It turns out that is Bruno's arm, and he's just been shooting up heroin. Anyway. Only because you hesitated for a moment in shock, I was able to use gold experience to retaliate. Retalian? If you were the kind of person who didn't hesitate or feel shocked, then I would have been rolling on the ground in pieces. So basically, Giorno's conscience, just for a brief second, acted up. And he was like, oh man, isn't that messed up that this guy's addicted to drugs? Those who want to do drugs are free to do it. Individual freedoms exist. Those that want to die have the freedom to choose how they die. There are people in this town who sell drugs to children, and you can't forgive that. That's what you're thinking. Or no, Giorno's talking about how Bruno saw the marks on his arm, rather. Sorry, I misspoke. And he's like, so you're working for the guy who's selling all these drugs to everyone. People are like, it's ruining people's lives. Don't you want to change that? And he's like, instead of us whooping each other's asses, how about we work together? Which is great. That's another very classic Jojo thing. Is the first main guy that you fight becomes your friend. That's a Speedwagon tradition. And it's quite a Chad move. He's like, nope, we're gonna be best friends now. Fuck you. I'm gonna whoop your boss's ass and be the crime lord. In order to get rid of gangsters who sell drugs to children, you have to become a gang member yourself. Nice. Zipping in and out. The stand will install a zipper on whatever it hits. If the zipper is opened, literally whatever the hell Bruno wants to happen can happen. No, if the zipper is open, space will be created inside that object. If the zipper is closed, it can join things together. Destructive Force A, by the way. Yeah, anyway. You really want to enter the gang. Nice coloring here. Just simple, very simple. Just the background coloring, I mean. I feel like the coloring in this part 4 is the one that gets the most surreal with the colors, you know? And then a lot of the other parts, it's a little more grounded, even though like the color page or the cover pages and shit like that still have the wacky colors. But part 4 has that iconic like yellow sky, whereas, and I feel like a lot of people were sort of disappointed when the part 5 anime came out and it wasn't more ridiculous colors, you know? But whatever. Oh shit, this is a different soccer ball. I don't know if this one's CGI. This is not the one I was talking about. But this is a little moment. The kids hit Bruno with a soccer ball. And he kind of acts intimidating for a second, but he's like, it's chill. Just take it. Whatever. He's a cool guy. It's just to demonstrate Bruno's not all hard ass. It's kind of ham-fisted that happens right then. At like the perfect moment. But whatever. I won't help you. No one will help a traitor. For your dream, which is worth its weight in gold, I'll take my chances on you. And they are just... Look at that face! That is love! That is love on that face. Good God. Like, how could it be anything else? Now kiss! And their organization is called Passion. I mean, come on. That must mean passion, right? Which is a good name. They're in control of Naples hotels, the port's transport industry, construction companies, funeral services, and restaurants. We reap a huge profit from gambling and drug trafficking as well. Don't suggest Bruno and Giorno romance. Everyone will murder you. Yeah, Giorno's 15. Yeah, 15-year-olds never kiss. Actually, I don't know how old Bruno is. What the fuck ever. Giorno's fucking 25 and we all know it. Look at him. Whatever. We're not gonna go down this fucking the anime ages rabbit hole. Anyway. Passione is the word for passion. It's not our boss's name. No one knows his name and no one's seen his face. Even I haven't met him. He's untouchable. I do like how they build up the boss. Like, some later parts, I think it's sort of like parts 7 and 8. It's kind of like, who even is the main villain of this part? Like, what's even going on? But here it's like, from basically the beginning, it's like, all right, the boss is the boss. You know? He's the final boss of the video game. Anyway. It's clear in hindsight in part 7, I'm gonna say. I would say reread through part 7 and think about that while you're reading it. Because, like, for a first-time reader, it's kind of like, could be a couple different people. Anyway. Pulpo is in here. And this is a neat situation. He could leave anytime he wanted. So Pulpo is this huge fucking, like, literal monster of a human being. And, he lives inside of this prison, like, for his own protection, though. It's like he's technically in jail, but really he's got the prison sort of wrapped around his big finger. And I don't know why. This is like a classic, this is like a trope. Bruno, just for some reason, is really coy about this. He's like, how did you develop your ability? Are there others with stand abilities? What the fuck is up with this guy? Why is he in jail? Is he perhaps a giant fucking, like, literal monster of a human being? Oh my god. The big doors for Pulpo, someone said. Holy shit, I never realized that. Why is Bruno being coy here? Like, why? Why is he doing that? He could just tell him, oh yeah, he's a giant fucking monster person. And also, yeah, we get stands from the fucking test. Like, whatever. So they body check him. They got guns. This is just to set up for the fact that Giorno gets in trouble on the way out, basically. And this is, I like the design of this area. They just show these very, very briefly. One of them kind of looks like Bruno, and they kind of remind me of something else later in the part, of course. That being said, it's just, you know, stone architecture. It's just statues. And yeah, here it is. Here's Pulpo. Here's our favorite character. Nice picture of a character right there. I wonder if the paintings on the wall represent any real paintings. You know? This looks like a clip from Hollow Knight. This is in God Home in Hollow Knight. And that's the Kame house from Dragon Ball Z. Anyway. So Pulpo, his name means octopus. This is the only explanation I can think of for why he's like this, you know? Where he's like, he can fucking shapeshift. For some reason, he's sitting here sleeping as a bed, and then he gets up and he's like this fucking massive dude. He's related to Shigechi in some way. He must be. This is like, this guy shits out like 10 Shigechis every time he takes a dump. You know? I don't even know where to fucking begin with Pulpo. He's just so weird. I don't even, like, his hat even is bizarre. and his eyes are, he's got, the whites of his eyes are black, and his irises are red, bright red. Just super, super fucking weird. It's like, a lot of characters in JoJo, you're like, okay, they got a weird thing. Giorno can fold his ear inside his head, whatever. This guy's literally a monster. Like, he's not human. But I guess I don't know, he's an octopus. He's sitting in his little hole, just sort of sunk into a corner. And he's very intelligent. I guess that's sort of the vibe they were going for. But whatever. He's a rock human. And so he's got all sorts of shit down here. He's loaded with, like, he's got a gun. I guess he plays the violin. He's got a shitty little 2000. What year did this come out? This takes place in like 2001, I believe. Or I forget. It either takes place in 2005 and was written in 2001, or was written in 2005 and takes place in 2001. I forget. Oh, look, Michelangelo's paintings. Oh, but he's not talking about those. I'm sure these correspond to some real paintings, some Van Goghs and Gauguin. There's some shit, like, Araki's references are all over the place, but he loves classical art. I love that he's just got a fucking grenade. You know? What is he gonna use a grenade for in here? Yeah, Pulpo, throw a grenade in this room. Let me know how that goes. Like, what the fuck? It makes no difference whether he's here or somewhere else. Maybe it's safer for him to be in prison. And it's not just that he's super fat, though. He's, like, not human. Like, whatever. It's more baffling to think how he managed to pass through the door in the first place. There are smaller doors on the inside. Like, that big door on the outside is one thing. Here's the Black Sabbath part. This is another thing. Like, Pulpo is just loaded with weird quirks. And one of the things is that he's eating these crackers and he accidentally bites off part of his fingers. Now, I have heard that this is a reference to the fact that the lead guy of Black Sabbath, I don't know his name, Black Sabbath Fingers. I bet if I Google this, Tommy Iommi. Hey, Tommy Iommi. In an industrial accident, I believe, lost part of his fingers. And so he uses, if you zoom in on his hand when he's performing, you can see that he's got fake fingers. And it is the same fingers that Pulpo bites off on his hand. And Pulpo's stand, spoiler alert, is called Black Sabbath. So I think the general consensus is that this is just a cool reference. I don't know. But metal fingers. But there, you can sort of see him up close. I think the story is that he originally made them out of, like, melted bottle caps or some shit like that. But this is, like, I don't know. This is an illusion or something. I've heard some people say that this is the trigger for his stand. But I don't know if I buy that. I just feel like this is just kind of a neat reference. Octopuses can grow things back, octopi, right? Isn't that a thing? They're one of the sea creatures that can do that. But his fingers are just back then. It's like a cuckoo clock goes off, and then they're just back. It's very, very strange. But anyway, he's got this fucking lighter. The way that his stand works is very, very weird. For a split second, it looked like he ate his fingers along with the cracker. I can't let Pulpo catch on that I just saw what I saw. But Pulpo was almost certainly trying to intimidate him with that. Whatever. He's a weird alien dude. I don't know. And we get a little speech here. I don't really care about this. He's like, oh, you need to learn if you can trust people in the mafia. And Giorno shows off his abilities. He's like, oh, I pickpocketed the guard lady and I'll give them all back. I'll give her all of her things back when I leave, which he doesn't do, by the way, because he's preoccupied. If he did give her wallet back while he did that shit with the flower when leaving here, kudos. But this is, I think, the only other mention of his ear ability. Maybe one other time. But he's like, oh, wow, very amusing and gross. he's like, I need to be able to trust you, Giorno. You need to keep this lighter's flame lit for an entire day for 24 hours and then come back here. He's my friend that speaks well of me behind my back. Is he pressing his face against the glass here? I don't think he is. But this is the challenge to get into the gang, is to just keep protecting this flame for 24 entire hours. And he doesn't even explain that he has any sort of way of knowing if the flame has gone out or not, which is kind of interesting. It's like Giorno doesn't really know the full scope of the situation, so he's like, whatever, I might as well play along. I'll be waiting eagerly for you to come visit me again. But then, yeah, Giorno's like, oh shit. I didn't realize they were going to give me a body check. I thought Pulpo was going to tell them to not, like, check me or something, or to let me bring this lighter out. But they're like, nope. They're completely oblivious, I guess. They're like, you got a fucking lighter there, bro? And basically, Giorno uses his ability. It's like framed as a tense moment, but like Giorno's got it under control. It's supposed to be like, oh, he's holding it inside his hand and it's burning his hand while she's just like slowly checking him. But really, he hid it inside of a flower. Which I don't know why the flower isn't smoking, because presumably the flame is still inside of there, but whatever. And she just like waggles it around and it's fine. Whatever. I turned the lighter into a flower, hiding the flame between the petals. That was a close call. And it's weird, like, that lighter is just a lighter then? It's not part of Pulpo's stand? Because Giorno was able to transform it. Fucking weird. Do you see smoke coming off a lighter? No, but you see smoke coming off of a plant that is on fire, I believe, as evidenced here. As shown in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Right? That's all I'm saying. This is that fucking part 4 guy. Maybe it was a really wet flower. So here's, I guess, Giorno does go to school. It's barely relevant. Here's fucking Mario. Oh my god. So to anybody who ever has wondered why this guy is called Mario in the community, it's because he's Mario. He's dressed like Mario. And he's Italian. And there's a little like comedy like sequence here. Hey, we're on this human pyramid and we for some reason did not plan and have somebody there to take the picture. We are fucking idiots and deserve to fall over. Fucking Mario's carrying shit, and Giorno just has to basically sideline everyone. In the anime, don't they have like the same girls like harass him here too, or something like that? Maybe that's later. I could have sworn the like harem of girls showed up or something like that. Whatever. He's like, breathes a sigh of relief and almost puts it out. It's kind of funny. And I like how very Italian, he bites a piece out of a little loaf of bread that he just had sitting there and sticks it in there. It's kind of funny. I like shit like this where it's a very, this is like a very human thing to do. This is not like a, like, Omega big brain Jojo moment. It's just like, he's doing the best he can. He made a little wall out of books. I don't know. What do I do now? Just chill here, I guess? Lock the windows? This is Giorno's Instagram profile picture, by the way. And then it's a good thing he has this mirror right here for no fucking reason, so he can actually see Koichi approaching. Koichi comes in, he's like, yeah, give me my wallet back, bitch. Well, he doesn't see that Giorno's there, but he's looking around for it, and he's like, oh shit. What if Giorno's like, what if Koichi discovers that there's a fire there and tries to put it out because it's a fire hazard? What would Koichi think if he sees a lit lighter resting on top of a piece of bread? It would be disastrous if a fire started up. And so, pretty woke move, and this is like a really, really cool use of gold experience. I feel like the really cool usages of any stand ability are like near the beginning. It's not necessarily always the truth. But he punches the electric light and turns part of it into a snake to go get the bread, which is kind of cool. But then the snake burns itself on accident and drops it. This can't be happening. And then I don't even remember. Oh, right. Koichi finds his passport. His passport is also on fire. And it distracts him, and Jono can steal the lighter back. But then fucking Mario puts out the lighter like a fucking asshole. As you can see, I'm cleaning the stairs right now. He just dumped water all over them to mop them. Fucking idiot. This is a really cool panel, huh? I have no memory of this, but this is really cool. His like shocked expression. This must mean you've been doing good every day. This fucking boomer is just like talking about whatever shit. I also like how Pulpo has his like logo on the side of this thing. It's a very cool custom lighter. But anyway, Jono's freaking out. He's like, does he even know? Does Pulpo even know if we relight it? I don't think he even considers relighting it until Mario tries it. And it like blows like a fucking torch at the very, very beginning. And we get our first glimpse of Black Sabbath, sort of as a shadow, which is pretty neat. And so the way it works is, if anybody sees the torch or the lighter getting relit with their own eyes, which this guy, he saw it about as hard as a person can see anything in this world, then Black Sabbath will hunt you down and fuck you up. And Black Sabbath is an awesome stand. This is really, really cool. I love this thing's design. It looks awesome. It's got like, I guess there are like classic like Venetian like carnival outfits that sort of have this like hat and this collar thing, and that's what his outfit is based off of. It's got really weird feet too. It just looks so fucking strange, but it's awesome. And the way its mouth like unhinges to like open up and the arrow comes out, pretty neat. He has Toru's hat. He kind of looks a little bit like Toru, yeah. Yeah, and if you're paying attention, you'll note the arrow design as well. If this is your first, theoretically, if this was your first time watching this, I mean, which I've said it before, and it's not too late to get out now. This should not be seen as a substitute for watching or reading the series. I feel like I could kind of ruin some things if you just go into this blind, but whatever. So yeah, Mario's, oh my god, it's April. Mario is gonna fucking die. It's canonical. But he fucking yanks out Mario's soul and gives him this speech. This thing always reminded me of like an automatic message machine. It's like Pulpo can record like a sound bite for it to say over and over again, because it always gives this speech about two paths you can follow. The chosen ones who will live in the path of death. And this guy is clearly not meant to have a stand. He's just a little wussy Mario man. And so he gets fucking stabbed through the soul head with the arrow and just fucking dies. His soul is bleeding. His soul is still dancing. And so here it is. March 31st, 2021. Mario is fucking dead. Rest in peace. Hey, this is... Hold on. You could just get, like... Write Nintendo here and Mario on... Have the arrow be labeled March 31st, 2021. Black Sabbath be labeled Nintendo. And Mario be labeled Mario. It's a perfect meme. Not one of the chosen ones. And he just throws it aside instantly. Brutal. Pulpo chooses those who have dormant stand abilities. And he's giving them the same speech. And I think this is when the volume ends, right? No? This is when an episode ended in the anime. Which I remember that very specifically because I was like, I want to see more of this cool fucking stand. I gotta wait a whole week now. And Giorno doesn't quite understand yet that that it's all to do with shadows. This is a really cool. It like picks up his shadow like a goopy. It's like the fucking stand goop. It's the life goop that Giorno had when he was creating the frog and the plant earlier. And I like that when it pulls out Giorno's soul, it's just his stand. Like, it doesn't just look like Giorno, it's just his stand. Which is kind of funny. Your stand basically is your soul. It extracts your soul through your shadow. Host, the incarcerated gangster. Even the arrow's even like dripping. And that is not blood. That is cum. That is cum. Anyway. I'm just speed reading here. Okay, the remaining path is the path of death. And so, yes, later on we will talk about this moment. You could debate that Giorno, his stand getting pierced by the stand arrow, should have done something to him. Like, if, again, we'll talk about it later. Probably should have done something to him, like anything, but whatever. He did get pierced by it. If it gets a clean stab at gold experience, it'll definitely be killed. Fasha! And then here it is. Kono Jono Giovanna. What is the full line? I typed it. That's the stream title. Kono Jono Giovanna niwe yume ga aru. I think that's how they say it in Japanese. But I think I remember hearing somewhere that Kono Jono Giovanna, or Kono Jono Giovanna, is not how you would say it. You would say, like, boku no, or something like that. But it's sort of a reference to Kono Dio da. It's, like, supposed to be the same way that Dio would say things. I don't know if that's true or not. I just remember hearing that somewhere, that's also, like, kind of a cheeky Dio reference that doesn't really translate. Boku no Giorno. Anyway. He's like, all right, well, listen, I'm in dire straits here. This guy's trying to murder me. He just killed that old man like he was nothing. I'm gonna fucking whoop the shit out of this guy. And he punches him in the face. Hell yeah, Muda Muda. I think that's the first Muda rush that we get. And I remember in the anime they did a really cool transition here where it's like Black Sabbath is falling to the ground, and then it's like the broom like passes by him or something, and it like wipes. It has like a masking effect, and he just like disappears into the shadows. It's pretty cool. There was just a cool transition that didn't really happen here in the manga. He just sort of disappears. And he says, gold experience, only your senses will rampage, consequently making everything seem slow. And I think it does happen here, where Black Sabbath is moving incredibly slowly. It's just that Black Sabbath normally moves so quickly that even its slower speed is not too bad. I think that's what they go with. All right, he's getting pierced with the arrow again here, and you see it affecting his normal body as well. Since my own movements are also slow, I won't be able to guard against the arrow stabbing me in time. Making things go slower worked against me. Weird. And I think, this is the last time it is explicitly mentioned, I think, that his ability does that. Again, we'll talk about it later. There's stuff that you could sort of debate that it comes back in a way. But I think that's the last time that they talk about it, at the very least. And then this is when Giorno sort of realizes that Black Sabbath can only move in the shadows, which is pretty cool. He just... and this is why Black Sabbath is like ... when Giorno falls down into the light, because Black Sabbath can't go down there and get him. Which kind of sucks. For Black Sabbath, I mean. And this part in the anime when Black Sabbath is just walking around in the shadows, I remember they had really cool music playing. They had like this really good creepy track. The stand can't jump through sunlight. Sure. It was way past 4:10. Holy shit, is it 4:20? Weed. Anyway. Oh god. His habit is to go. He's just like the shadow, the big fat shadow siren in Thousand Year Door. It does not seem to be able to hide in tiny shadows, like the shadow of a pebble or the tiny dark cracks between stone tiles. That's good to know. It can't, like, hide in the shadow of your, like, eyelid. It can't run out into the sunlight. It appears from the lighter's flame and attacks its target on autopilot. It releases something that resembles an arrow from its mouth. The one who's stabbed by the arrow either has their own dormant stand ability awakened or dies. He's doing the point here. Only main Jojos are allowed to do the point. Anyway. If this stand could only move through shadows, then what would happen if I were to forcibly drag it out into the sunlight? You basically have to fucking roast this thing. And then, yeah, Koichi comes down here. Koichi's still pissed. He's like, did you just kill that guy? I saw it all from up here, including the fucking lighter being lit. And then Jono's like, no, bro. God, this is really cool, too. The thing moving through shadows allows for some really neat drawings from Araki. And then this is an awesome moment, too. Koichi's in the shadow of the railings. Jono gets fully pierced by the arrow. Jesus Christ. And he turns the railings into vines, and they flop down onto the ground. So many awesome uses of his ability. And I feel like Giorno, there are some later guys, like Part 8, the main JoJo, I'm dissatisfied with how they use their stand. This part, he just keeps doing really, really cool shit with it, just basically all the way throughout. Morning glories specifically, like buongiorno, and it's exposing him to sunlight. That's so good. It works on a lot of levels. Pity, there was still some shade nearby, so it got away. And so Koichi's like, what the fuck is going on? That was the arrow from fucking part 4. And Jono's basically they're basically explaining things back and forth. Koichi's explaining what the arrow is. Jono's explaining what the hell happened. Jono is very calm for a man who's been stabbed several times. And yeah, Koichi knows what an automatic stand is. And this is nice, because he has specific experience with automatic stands. Like, he fucking fought sheer heart attack, you know? I think that's pretty cool that they brought that back. Also, we're going to call it quits pretty soon here. I think at the end of this chapter. Not even volume. Well, let's see. How close am I? His dream is to be a gang star. Yeah, how about we just finish up this fight? There's like one more chapter, I think, actually. Went a bit longer than an hour and a half. But they're explaining, this is a really cool bit where the birds, he fucking moves over in the shadow of the birds, which is pretty amazing. And then fucking trips Giorno like a motherfucker. It's like, oh, now the lighter's gonna go out again! 3 freeze! Exclamation mark. Koichi is 18, and Giorno is 15. Giorno is literally not 15 years old. I stand by it. Anyway, right now, here in Italy, I'm being attacked by a remote control stand that moves through shadows. So, yeah, they're trying to get him into a shadow, then take away the shadow. And Black Sabbath has him pinned down. He's like, please, Koichi, use 3 freeze on this guy to, like, pin him down. He's like, no, it'll break your fucking ankles, Giorno. He's gonna, like, destroy your legs. And I think in the anime, maybe they have it here, too, with, like, the sound effects, but I just don't know Japanese. But they have, like, a snap sound effect, but then it turns out, of course, that it's not actually his ankles, it was the tree. It was the tree that Giorno, like, reached through the ground in, like, the roots or something, and, right? Isn't there, like, exposed roots? You did it through, like, the crack in the fucking ground. Black Sabbath can't use cracks in the ground, but Giorno sure can. And he makes the tree, he supercharges it with life so it grows super old and, like, rots away. The leaves are falling off, rather. Just as planned. That tree kept on growing and then came to the end of its lifespan. You dug a hole This is a Naruto bit, and it just gets completely fucking annihilated. And this is a great moment. This is when they first use the iconic, I don't even know, it's Il Vento di Aureo or something like that. Giorno's theme. And it's pretty glorious in the anime, seeing him whoop this guy's ass. And seeing him go, whoa! Like evil anime guy sounds. And he tries to crawl down to the shadow that Giorno created, but he stomps on his hand. Brutal. And then he hits him with the point. And then he hits him with the fucking, he riffs off of his own, like, evil speech. Classic bit. And then we get the Muda Rush. That's the singular path you can follow. Nice. And he fucking dissolves. And that wasn't actually, like, getting rid of Black Sabbath, too. It really seems like Black Sabbath just should be dead now. But, no, Black Sabbath is just still around next time we see him. We briefly glimpse it when we see Pulpo next, rather. But, it's just that they, like, incapacitated it, I guess. Because I think that's the way with automatic stands. It's like you incapacitate, you destroy them, and then it's like the stand user is like in a weakened state for a little while. But I think Pulpo doesn't even notice, though, is the thing. So maybe it just works different for different stands. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. But anyway, that's it for today. No more. No more. We got through 2 volumes today. That's pretty good. There's 17 volumes in this entire thing, and we've also got Purple Haze feedback to go through. That Purple Haze feedback will be probably not even an entire podcast on its own, though. That probably won't even be one session. So we shan't worry about that taking up too much time. Anyway, it's fun. I like going through these. It's a little tiring, but I'm excited to go through the rest of it, and eventually we will get to the end of this and be ready for part 6 when the anime comes out, which is probably not going to be for a while. There might be a bit of a gap between me doing part 5 and doing part 6, just because we're probably going to wait for the anime to start and just go along with it. You know, does Purple Haze Feedback have a manga version? No, it is a light novel. There's an audio book version that I listened to. That's how I did it. And when I talk about it on here, there are official Araki drawings of some of the characters that I'll just put up. But anyway, I'm going to take a little break, go clear my head, go stop talking for like 2 seconds, and then maybe in like 10 or 15 minutes, I'll come back and do some Celeste for a little while, and then I will leave for the day. So if you're sticking around for that, I'll see you then. If not, bye-bye.